Alright, so we're going to take a look at my brand new VST FM21. So first we need to load it into the channel rack. So you can either go up to the top and add and find it on here, or I've already set up my sampler with a MIDI on, so I'm just going to right click on this, replace, and find FM21. By default we should already have a pretty decent northeast sort of gritty bass line. And this comes with 10 factory presets that are all quite good, so we'll have a quick flick through them. Alright, so I'm going to talk you through the main features of the VST. So starting at the top, if you don't know anything about sound design, this is ideal for you because this single button will create you a unique bass sound every single time. All you need to do is hit this random button and it's going to randomize both of these wave shapes and the FM amount. So I'm going to press play and then I'm going to click this button a few times and you'll see what it does. Okay, so underneath that we've got the detune knob, and what this does is detune the pitch of the left and right speaker slightly. That gives you a nice wider detune sound. Okay, and then underneath that, and this is probably one of the most important settings in here, is the FM, which is frequency modulation. So what it does is it modulates the pitch of this oscillator by using this shape over here. So it sort of mashes the two shapes together to create this gritty sound. So with the FM down to 0, this wave is not going to be doing anything and you'll just hear this on its own. I'm also going to turn the sub volume down so we can just hear this one. So what we're hearing now is just this wave in the main oscillator, and we can also generate different waves for each of these individually. So I'm just going to click the generate button a few times. And as well as generating them, we can actually draw them like this. And as we turn up the FM, we're going to get that gritty digital sound that we want. So we can actually save and load these individually as well. So if you liked this one, you could save it and load it back in, and the same with this one. You could also save this one and load it back into there, and vice versa. Okay. We've also got pitch options over here for the FM oscillator. I've not added them for the main oscillator because you can just move them up and down on the MIDI. Okay, so next up we've got the tail setting down here, and this is quite important. If you put it down to 0, then the sound will stop exactly where your notes stop. So you can see I've got quite short notes here, they're a quarter each. So if I press play, you'll see that the sound stops exactly where these notes stop. I'm going to put on the kick so we can hear a bit better. And as I turn up the tail, it'll have that nice bouncy fade out at the end. So that can be nice to add that bit of bounce and sort of fill in a bit of the gap between the bass and the next kick, so it sort of fades out and fills in this gap here. So I'm going to leave that around 25-ish, I think, for now. You can actually hold Control and click, and it will set all of these knobs to the default state. So these default to 50, If you double right click on these, you can reset them to a flat line. So yeah, control and left click resets these to the default state. That one should be 0, but never mind. So next up we've got the sub oscillator here, and this adds like the low end to the bass. So this is mainly like the mid and high end stab, and then the sub osc is going to bring in that sort of lower bass tone. And we've got a choice of wave shapes here. And next to that we've got an EQ cut. So what this is actually a raw sine, saw, triangle or square, and using the EQ I've took off the high end, so we're just left with the low frequencies of that shape. So you can actually bring the high back up if you wanted to use it as a full saw, like with the higher frequencies too. Or you can shave off more of the low frequencies. These are basically just like low and high pass filters. So that just helps to blend in the sub with the rest of the sound. Okay, and then next we've got distortion. So with no distortion, it's going to sound a lot less gritty. So the distortion just helps to brighten it up and add a bit more grit. And then we've just got the main volume here. Okay, and then underneath we've got the preset browser. So it's 10 presets built in. You can go left and right with the arrows. You can rename. This shows you how many presets are in this bank, which at the moment it's set to 10 at the max. And then in the file drop down, that lets you save your preset, load a preset, or save a whole bank, or load a whole bank. So that's where we're at with it at the moment, and this is just version 1. So if you have any feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear it, and I will probably be updating this soon after I've got a bit of feedback from people. So yeah, that's the basics of FM21.